This is that expensive purchase I was talking about. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. About 6 to 8 months ago, I started selling off some really nice guitars out of my collection, like Bubbles, the Heritage 80 Awesome Top Elite, to make way for a very special guitar that I told you was rather expensive. What I didn't tell you, it was actually 2 guitars that were going to be hand-delivered to me by the guy I initially sold them to back in 2020. They flew into Chicago, they were planning on doing some stuff around there, then they came to visit me in Ohio, and then ultimately they were going to end up in New York. And on their way, they were stopping at cool places like Nazareth to check out the Martin Guitar Factory. Eric, it was fantastic meeting you. I hope you enjoyed your vacation to the States. But here it is. It's that expensive purchase. Longtime viewers of the show know what guitar I just bought back, and I will not be dumb enough to let this thing go again. It's a wine red The Les Paul, but it's even more than that. This is Steve Howe's old guitar. He's toured the world with this thing. He called it his power chord guitar. And I honestly cannot make a better video than I did the one that I stayed up all night to recreate, because I thought for sure that would be the very last time I would ever see this guitar. So I thought I would do us one better. We can do a quick unboxing of it. Just remember, the Les Pauls were first introduced for the year 1976. This is a first-year example. They made approximately 59 in natural and 18 in wine red for a total of approximately 77 TLPs. Gibson sourced very fine Austrian maple from a luthier who had passed away, and they just created such beautiful pieces. You have about an 1/8 inch thick back veneers as well as the edges. You have to have these cool caps on the cutaway as well as on the bottom side of the instrument. It's got the rosewood binding. They've got the weird looking harmonica bridge, wooden appointments pretty much everywhere that plastic would normally be. Check it out, you've got the ebony rosewood sandwiched fretboard with a main layer of black binding paired with abalone inlays. These things are just so ridiculously fancy, and that's before you even get to the headstock with the natural wooden veneer. This is the guitar that you see in the Heat of the Moment music video. As Steve is doing his whole slide up the neck thing, you see this exact inlay. And if you doubt it even further, it's published in Steve Howe's old collection book, and it's serialized, number 26. And we've got the matching one here, 26, as well as his invisible ink signature on the backside of the headstock. I had initially purchased this one from an investor up in Michigan around 2017-ish. I went up there to get it, and at that time, I was only in the buy, review, sell, document game. I did not have a personal collection until about 2020, so I sold this to fund my business to have more guitars, but it's right around that time that this sold when I started to hold back special pieces like the Aldo Nova Les Paul. And Eric told me he would sell this back when he's, done with guitars, ready to move on to the next thing. So when I got that message of, hey, we're planning on going to the US on vacation, the time is here, here's the new price, tell me if you want it or not. Yep, it's like, yeah, I'll find a way. Because sadly, inflation was not kind on this purchase, but 100% worth it. You will see this in the future museum. So that's one of the reasons I bought this back. A lot of people would like to see this guitar. It's got a cool lineage. But the second and most important reason to me is before I sent this guitar off, I made the mistake of letting my very young daughter at the time hold it. And for whatever reason, that moment is just burnt into my head. So I had to get this guitar back for that reason. And number 3, I can't just document this again. As I said, I can't do it any more justice than I already have. But about a year ago, Steve Howe's webmaster reached out to me saying, Steve saw my video and he loved it. To which I countered, hey, Steve, would you like to be on the show and tell us the story in your own words? So let's just say, in about a week or 2, I have a phone call with Steve Howe, and we're going to talk about this. And we'll edit it up, make a nice little video, but I need your guys' help. I've got my list of things I want to ask him about this guitar, but is there something you want me to ask Steve? Are there answers that you can't find elsewhere? It doesn't have to just be about this guitar. Maybe it's about his career or what he's doing now or whatever you want. If you have something, please leave a comment. I will look through all of them. The ones that get tons of likes, I'll make sure to ask them, because that is a privilege and an honor to get to interview him about this magnificent beast as well as more. So look forward to that. But I told you I bought not one guitar, but two guitars. This is another one of those where longtime viewers of the show, you might vaguely remember this one. It never got tons of fanfare, and it's mainly because I could never explain the existence of this. However, now that, another 4 years have passed, other examples have shown up. I'm finally comfortable with the history of this one because it's always kind of been, hit or miss. Do I believe what somebody's saying or not? This is what I dubbed back then the super standard. So we just learned about the Les Pauls, and then you can check out this video to learn about super customs, which are a runoff model of the Les Pauls. And since getting these back, I actually tracked down the first one that has the wooden binding. But this is what I always called the super standard because, it says standard. It doesn't have the wooden binding, it's just regular binding, but it still has, all the beautiful flame maple on the top and the back. And the sides, it's got all the other things it had. It's just not wooden this time. Mysteriously, it has this mini toggle switch on it. But this one does not have a good review. So don't worry, we will re-review this one and talk about everything that I've discovered since and why I am pretty sure that the person who told me they vaguely remember seeing this at a NAMM show back in the late 70s might just be correct. If you happen to have any photos of the 79/1980 NAMM show, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, we'll just have to teach you what I do know as we update the world on the super standard. But you might have noticed these interesting tags on the cases. He was initially told that he'd be allowed to store these in the captain's quarters on his trip over. So the reason why these were all bubble wrapped is he thought, okay, let's protect things. The inside of the guitars were decently packed as well. He removed the switch tips, because he was expecting to get to put them there, but when he gets to the gate, apparently it took him like 3 hours just to accept his passport, so that was another not so good thing about his trip. And then they forced him to put these guitars in the belly of the plane. Now, thankfully, he paid for insurance from the same guys who does his Rolexes and other nice watches, so he was covered, but man, that was really scary when I saw that email. And yeah, he had them packed up and said they're going in the belly of the plane, because if the TLP got broken, that is not a part of the history I want to tell. I want to keep my story as, yeah, I bought it from the guy in Michigan who got it from Steve earlier on. I foolishly sold it when I was young and dumb enough to still do so. Then I ended up buying it back, meeting the guy I sold it to. It's all hunky-dory instead of, oh yeah, it got broken in the plane and then I had to get it repaired and... So it's great, I've got Steve's guitar back. Now I just need to find Roger Fisher's, secure number 1, and then find out who got number 25 out of the Les Paul estate, because those are the 4 most history-based TLPs in existence. The hunt is on. But our fun is not over yet today. We've got a couple of minor unboxings. This one completes a tale. So as a refresher, on the SG Supreme Red review and demo, we had a case that looked like this, and I commented that looks strange. The Gibson logo's missing. So I thought I'd reach out to Gibson and be like, is that not like a new case design? Because honestly, it looks kind of cool. It's like the custom shop ones. They just usually have like a Gibson badge right there. And in many ways, that could be good because then you're not advertising, steal me. But no, to my surprise, they're like, no, somehow that one made it out of the factory without it. That's a funny anomaly, but they said, we're going to send you a new case. So that's what was in that package, the one with the correct branding on it. So I'm going to hold this one back just because it's kind of got a fun story now. So now we can ceremoniously transfer this one into a proper case, and then I need to pack this thing up and ship it out because he's been waiting for this other case to come in. The 3-pickup Ebony Black Beauty one is still available if anybody's interested. I hope you enjoy your SG, my friend. That thing is awesome. And now we've got an interesting tale. So I have a personal history with this old Gibson box. When I bought my first vintage Gibson, I was told I was being handed the original box to a 1978 25/50th anniversary Les Paul. And it was one of these things. Being young and naive, I thought, yeah, that's cool. Looks about right. We've got this weird dude on the outside. That's Orville Gibson, by the way. And it certainly looks like something they would be using in the 70s, but no. Later on, found out I kept that box for such a long time, and it actually belongs to the early 2000s of Gibson. By the way, if anybody happens to have serial number 0024 of the 25/50th anniversary model, please let me know. Wouldn't mind getting it back. My mom helped me buy that guitar. But that was one of those ones I sold when I was trying to buy my initial house, and unfortunately lost the email to the guy I sold it to. I've got another low number serial I would trade it for that has an arguably better top and better condition. But inside here is something we've kind of seen before, but not exactly. A viewer of the show reached out to me saying, hey, I've got these. If you're interested, here's the price. Sure, I'm interested. Let's get it done. But then he takes it to a UPS store to ship these things. He's like, oh, this is way more than the $65 I charged you on each of them. Do you have any suggestions? It's like, yeah, let me help you out on that using my UPS account and not going to a UPS store. Because the way they operate is they make a profit off of every label to cover their expenses. They generally charge you 2 to 3 times more than what it would be if you just bought it online. So I was able to help him on that front. I was really appreciative he reached out about these, because it's another one of those old Gibson display cases. Now, this particular one has a twist. Where's our mounting brackets? Oh, this is a different variation. It's a standing version. I haven't actually seen one of these before, which I think looks pretty good and utilizes one of these older string swings. So your Les Paul can look something like this. So the reason why I collect these is I would like to prototype a different design case off of them that has the protective UV glass in front of it for the future museum. And then like on the background, that's where I'll put like the information, or I could put it on the window or something. Because what I don't like is this actually sticks out past that point, and it might not look that difficult, but getting it in and out of here is kind of tricky without bumping the headstock. But I will say, I am a fan of the way that looks up here on my workbench. But now, the second one that he sold me, it's one of the regular side-by-side ones. I initially thought this was just going to be a spare. I'd put it up for sale, because I just love to have one of every version and one of every medallion. However, I went to put my Les Paul on it, and it doesn't fit. So when I first got one of these, I was like, am I dumb? Am I missing something? How do I mount my Les Paul? But now I know it was meant for a different body style. I'm not sure which one this is for, but it is definitely not currently set up for a Les Paul. Like an SG, I tried it with that Supreme, and it didn't really fit with the top horn, so I'll have to do some more experimentation on that, but I guess technically it is a different version. Now, which one do I prefer? I think this one's cool if you have like 1 or 2 guitars to display, but when you have more, I kind of like the diagonal look. But this final one, oh mama, I love it! I've never seen one with a crushed velvet back before, and blue with the old-timey Gibson Custom Art historic logo. At first I thought, did somebody take this and modify it? I'll buy it and find out. But looking at the construction back here, it looks good to me, and it feels great. It's like the padded interior part of the case. How sweet is that? And after I just found out that other one wasn't a Les Paul case, I was worried for a minute there, but no, it is the Les Paul version. And it gives me some more ideas for when I have my own custom-made ones for the museum. That is gonna look nice. But that's not actually the end of our fun today, because he sent us some additional stuff. Check this out. I would say, 90s, 2000s era Gibson USA Cup. Pretty cool. And then he sent us 2 envelopes. These are nice freebies, by the way. Thank you. I do not know what's in here. Oh, that's fun. A little reflective Gibson acoustic thing that you could hang up or something. It's like the back of a mirrored pickguard. I feel like you could put that on one of those. And last but not least in this fantastic episode, got a sweet custom art historic Gibson notebook. Is this the missing shipping ledgers? No, it's just blank paper, but that's okay. It's cool anyway. But before we get to our boxing stories tonight, he also brought me some gifts. Look at this. He found some candies here. He said he had to bring this one because it said fret on the box, like frets on a guitar. Awesome. And he brought a giant Mondo-sized Toblerone. But by far the coolest is he knows I've got 2 young sons. So he brought me a real Swiss Army knife from Switzerland with a pen, and then 2 separate ones for my boys when they get a little bit older. Very cool. Thank you so much. Now let's get to some boxing tales. This one I did not expect to say goodbye to so soon. I had bought this, thinking personal collection, keeping it. Definitely regret selling it already. But you just saw, I made a huge, big, expensive purchase. I need to have some money to keep my business up and running because you never know how long inventory will sit around. So it's nice to have a little bit of a cash buffer. It also ensures that I don't miss out on a really cool guitar due to the lack of funds. But man, I'm gonna miss this. It's a 2019 NAMM Show SG. At that point in time, I had not seen a photo of it, but one of my viewers did find a photo of it along with a couple of the other SGs that were mentioned. So the one with the zebra bobbin pickups, I remember seeing that one come up for sale at the Music Zoo. However, the other one below it, I have not seen yet. But between those three, this is still my favorite, and maybe one day it'll come back to me. Because that's the story of my R9 from 2019. I think I sold that thing 2 or 3 times before I decided, you know what, I think it's just time to hold on to it. So good sir, I hope you enjoy it. Here's a quirky one we haven't seen in a while. The good old Golden Earring Corvus 3. So if you missed the video, you can check it out to learn more, but essentially, the Corvus is the bolt-on neck version of the Futura, which was initially meant to be a headless design. That's why I have this weird can opener dove body shape. I still would like one of these in my collection. This one just wasn't quite the condition I was hoping for. I mean, it's really not that bad after I cleaned it up, but that's my job to curate the cleanest examples for the collection. But this one's flying off to England. All right, Troglodytes, thank you for taking the journey with me today. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what I should be asking Steve Howe, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day, and you might even enjoy this next one.